Meeting called to order on September 3rd, 7 p.m. 2025. All right, so we're gonna do roll call. Mr. Schwartzwell. Here. Mr. Hanks.
Present.
Mr. Schwartzwell. Right home. Here. Oh, Mr. Miles.
Present.
Oh, Mr. Quinn? Seven, I'm present, not present. Dr. Alfonso Wells, I'm here. All right, meeting is called to order. We're going to entertain our public comment first. We have Mr. Saunders. Oh, Ms. Saunders, I'm so sorry. I didn't even look at that. I'm sorry, Ms. Saunders.
That's all right. My name is Dr. Saunders, but could you move up to the X so that the cameras and can pick up your, spoken? And speak nice.
Everyone speaking, please give your name and address and then.
Absolutely, yeah. My name is Dr. Taylor Saunders. I live over on 2006 Columbia. And I wanted to share continued support for the sentiments that were shared at last week's public comment. The strongly opposed any cooperation with or agreements between borough employees with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. I want to just briefly share from a public source article of a recent occurrence in Pittsburgh where 10 local teens at local shelters were flagged for imminent removal by the government without a court order to be sent to Guatemala. Jewish Family and Community Services and the ACLU of Pennsylvania worked frantically in this situation. That this just happened over the weekend. Until a federal judge ruled that no claims could lead to take these kids to Guatemala. Just to give you some extra context, the local children are boys and girls ages 15 to 17, and some have a zero family in Guatemala. All of the children are in some form of the immigration process, and none has a final order of removal. All of the children are, per this public source article, all of the children are fearful and do not wish to return to Guatemala. Parts of their experiences have included having no parents and being trafficked and abused. So unfortunately, similar incidents are becoming more prevalent in the Pittsburgh area and across the US. For this reason, I support the current resolution that's proposed by council this evening. And I also implore the mayor to make a similar written proclamation or ordinance to make sure that no borough employees either enter into agreements with or cooperate with two very different things with ICE. Thank you so much for appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Ms. Baggett?
There, Corey Baggett, live on Woodstock Ave. And unfortunately, this past Sunday, I was also hit by a car on the sidewalk. It was kind of a wild incident. The driver was going very, very fast down Woodstock, which is a common occurrence. They lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a parked car that I had literally just walked past. So if the car hadn't been there, they would have run into the house that's right there or hit me and my dog. I was close enough to like hit my parts of the car as it crashed into it. It totaled that car, so that was the amount of force that was going down the street. It's really unfortunate because that area is less than a block away from my house. It's a really heavily pedestrian area. There's tons of kids running around playing in the street. So that's the context for this. It made me feel very unsafe to walk down my street in that way. And it was very jarring for all the neighbors in the area too. Obviously, the woman's car is total, had to prove it that day, but we're very lucky that it wasn't a person, right? So I'm aware of the traffic calming study that is going to be happening soon. And I hope that that study includes a heavy emphasis on actually talking to neighbors about their experiences and not only statistics. We have an important perspective that speed data alone cannot convey, so hopeful that that will be a part of the study if it can be. I'm hopeful that the study will result in a very necessary traffic calming infrastructure on Woodstock, specifically because we deal with very dangerous drivers daily. As I experienced on Sunday, we see it all the time. There was also an incident yesterday where kids play in that lot on Melrose and Woodstock. This football was tossed, it wasn't caught, it ended up in the street. The child was nearly hit by a driver who was going way too fast down the street. So that being said, the problem is happening now, and waiting for the study results to do anything is a poor plan. I'm very worried about the possibility of a child fatality because of how often the kids play there. Anyway, so I'd like Chief specifically to tell us what he can do to enforce the traffic laws now, knowing that resources are tight. Because the long-term solutions will obviously take some time to get going, happen. And again, knowing the study is forthcoming, but if the remaining ARPA funds that the council has could help fill in the gap to get infrastructure in faster, that would mean preventing a fatality and even more property damage than already happened, so Woodstock specifically. I'm glad that I'm still here to bring this to council today. And I hope you'll consider acting to prevent the worst case scenarios. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bush.
Good evening. My name is Seth Bush. I live on Woodstock Avenue. Two things to touch on briefly. One, I'm glad to see the climate action plan is up for adoption tonight, and I trust council will vote to adopt it. And thank you for taking the time to review it and ask some good questions last week's agenda meeting. Especially thank you to Councilwoman Alfonso Wells for getting it going many years ago. I'm glad we finally got it done. I did want to address one question in particular from Councilwoman Swartzwelder, which was a good and important question about implementation and accountability. As she noted, it is so important to ensure that this plan does not just sit on a shelf. Fortunately, we already have a lot of momentum with climate action that we can build on. Recent successes such as purchasing electric vehicles, starting a neighborhood composting program, passing the active transportation plan, and preparing the new borough building for solar are all very worth celebrating. But meeting our goals is going to require careful attention and consistent action from council and from many residents. It really will take all of us working together to navigate this climate crisis as a borough of Swissvale. I've spent a lot of time with this plan, thinking about it. I personally don't think that we need a new committee at this time because several entities in Swissvale are already set up well to follow through on the many actions that are in the plan, such as Shade Tree Advisory Committee, the Birdtown Committee, the New Transportation Advisory Committee. There are also many nonprofits that are active in Swissvale, Clean Air Council, Group Against Smog and Pollution, SEDCO, I know is very concerned about climate action as well. They're all mentioned in this plan, but we're going to need coordination of these groups and support from council to keep their eyes on the plan, which I think you are all really well positioned to take on. So I encourage one, maybe a few of you to declare that you'll take up the mantle to carry this plan forward. Keep track of the progress, right? Celebrate wins, share opportunities, keep us updated, maybe some updates in the Swissvalian on social media from time to time. And then bring these groups and individuals together to coordinate as needed, just to make sure that these different entities are talking with one another. One thought I've had is perhaps a regular summit. Maybe this could happen annually of these relevant entities and maybe interested residents to come together, chart progress, see where we've been so far on the plan, discern next steps, kind of figure out, okay, Birdtown, you're going to work on this, Shade Tree, you can work on that. They maybe need to figure out some other people in the community who could work on these other things, but keep that momentum going. So step up is my encouragement to take that on. I know you're up for it, and so I hope you'll consider those recommendations. Keep this plan on the table, not on the shelf. And then very briefly, Week Without Driving. Thank you, Mayor Swartzwelder, for your forthcoming proclamation in support of Week Without Driving. I hope you'll all take the pledge to put yourself in the shoes of non-drivers, if only for a day, to be in solidarity with the many Swissvalians who do not drive for one reason or another. And I've got some postcards that have some more information. I'll share these with you to pass around to council members. You can scan that QR code, go to the website to take the pledge, www.weekWithoutDrivingPGH.org. And we're encouraging elected officials to also sign on as supporters. We'll list you on our website, that we're working on the coalition. This is Mike Pittsburgh is for Public Transit and Access Mom and, age-friendly district. So thanks for supporting. Ask questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Warner.
We Wimmer, live at the top of Columbia. I came up here to talk about the climate action plan a little bit, but I also got a car totaled on Woodstock a couple years ago, so just confirming that everything that Tori said tracks, down on Woodstock. Seth was super thorough, so I'm just gonna be short because I mostly agree with everything he said. Really excited about the climate action plan being adopted. I know Sean did a lot of work on it, especially at the beginning. I worked on it, lots of neighbors worked on it. We did a lot of getting input from residents about what they're excited about and stuff that I've seen since working on the climate action plan. Folks are really excited about Cleaner Council's composting program. I was employed with them until pretty recently, and I think when we did our first composting event here in the borough, there was almost like 40 people, and more people wanted to have the event. So especially the hands-on kind of like, let's get out and improve our green spaces, let's get trash picked up, let's like beautify spaces, let's get invasive species out of vacant lots and in wooded areas. Residents, in my experience, have been really excited about it and are willing to volunteer to help out. And I know that's something that myself and others in the room would be excited to support the borough in doing. So yeah, thumbs up for adopting that. Keep us in the loop, because we want to support y'all making it happen. So thanks for putting that on the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Dahl.
Hi, how is everyone tonight?
How are you?
I'm good. I try not to be upset.
However.
Oh, I have to go to, you know, this one's the X. On the X right there. But you know what? I'm talking to you. They can't hear me.
Yeah, but the
But
cameras.
the cameras can't hear you otherwise.
Oh, I understand. I'm just putting it out there that when you want people to talk, maybe I want to know a little bit about the climate action. Maybe I want to know a little bit about other aspects, and I'm sitting there going. And you all said you could talk loud. And I don't believe, and it's the proof, because you went around and said your name and. Okay, so. I'm here to talk about, the potential agreement or non-agreement with ICE. I'm sure Taylor made some really good points. I unfortunately didn't hear them all, but, I'm in opposition to using any of our very hardworking and in harm's way law enforcement first responder people in this regard. They are for our use, and the federal government has their people that are designated for that purpose. So I against that, but I do appreciate that we live in a community where I can come and say, I can't hear you, but I can also voice my opinion. And I don't have to worry about retribution when I go out the door tonight. So I thank you all for your time. Good night.
Thank you. Ms. Elsa.
Hi, good evening. I'm Allegra Elson. I live on Whipple Street close by. My first concern is on August 10th, we got a very small taste of what it will be like when the parkway is closed and when the tunnels are closed. We know that Whipple Street to Commercial Street is a known cut through. It's probably on Google Maps. Our concern is, and what we found on August 10th was that we had no less than 3 tractor trailers through the neighborhood and a tour bus. One tractor trailer went into Swiss Health Park and took down electrical lines, which then necessitated UPN light coming out. And so my request is that public safety, Swiss Health Borough Police work in tandem with City of the Police to at least make the very large trucks as they come off the parkway, take the tour that has been mandated by PennDOT. And so I asked that there be some coordination because I realized that we have Swiss Home, we have Swiss Home Park, we have Swissvale. I also know that there are tractor trailers on Swissvale Avenue and Edgewood Avenue on that day too. So I asked that there be some coordination in terms of public safety and traffic safety. And I would also like to add my agreement that there be no cooperation by public safety, by borough employees, by anyone employed by Swissvale Borough with ICE. So I would like to also agree with no cooperation with this. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Last one on here is it's Sanati, Evan, 11th.
Levin?
Lettuce. Hi. Sorry to be reading from a computer here.
Don't be sorry.
Okay. All right, thanks for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sarah Levins. I've been a resident of Swissvale on Whipple Street for 11 years. In May this year, I got a survey asking residents to weigh in on a new mural commissioned for the Public Works Garage. Included in the images, which were chosen to represent different facets of our community, was Jane Gray Swisshelm. The foreword to the Swissvale Code of Ordinance, which I read for today, not a mural, but a government document, also features Jane Gray Swisshelm, noting that she named our borough and she promoted the Underground Railroad. Jane Gray Swisshelm and what she represents is clearly a point of pride for our community, something the code document describes as prestige, which will remain and endure as a part of the history of Western Pennsylvania. And rightly so. Clearly, we adhere to the idea that we were founded on support for freedom, independence, and the fight for equality. We align ourselves with those that stood on the right side of history, supporting human rights even when it was dangerous and controversial. I don't mean to compare apples and oranges here, but the hunting and violent detainment of people today in the name of immigration enforcement bears some noticeable similarities to the risks she faced. Cooperating with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, would bankrupt that foundation of our community. How could we continue to hold up Swisshelm while we facilitated or even cooperated with the campaign to disappear our neighbors? I do not think in the future we will find ICE on the right side of history. Far from it. I urge you to refuse cooperation with ICE in the name of humanity and heritage. My wife is a permanent resident of the US, a green card holder, a Canadian citizen. Recently, she said to me, she expects to get snatched out of our car any day. We've all seen multiple reports of green card holders and even citizens arrested and held by ICE. So this isn't out of the realm of possibility. I say this to point out two things. First, we're foolish to think any of this campaign of terror ends with immigration enforcement. The groundwork has been laid to demonize and disappear any population, green card, citizen, international student, whatever, that falls out of favor with the people in the White House. And two, though the undocumented immigrants are certainly the most vulnerable, this fear, this unsettling freak affects multiple populations in our borough. My wife and I have had many conversations about moving to Canada. Myriad community members are watching to see whether our local administration chooses to further their precarity or support them and reinforce their standing as valued and free people on our streets. In the name of culture and community, I urge you to refuse not only cooperation with ICE, but their very modus operandi. Should we ever find our Swissvale police furthering a culture of threat, it will be time for all of us to relocate. There are numerous other reasons to refuse engagement with ICE, including legal and financial risks we simply cannot afford. that's what I thought I'd talk about today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that ends our public comment section, and now we'll have the mayor. Proclamation.
Proclamation, Week Without Driving 2025. Whereas Week Without Driving is a nationwide movement started by disability rights advocates in 2021 to challenge leaders to better understand barriers non-drivers face in assessing their communities across the United States. And whereas Swissvale is committed to providing safe, accessible streets and transportation systems for all residents. And whereas access to mobility is a fundamental part of health, safety, and community connection, allowing Swissvale Borough to reach education and employment opportunities, medical services, shopping, recreation, and visit friends and family. Whereas many community members cannot afford or are financially stretched to pay for car ownership and maintenance. AAA estimates that it costs $12,297 a year. That's $1,025 a month to own a vehicle, and recommends drivers spend no more than 10% of their income on their car. This means drivers need to make $120,000 a year to cover average car costs. Median income in the US is $77,000 per household. And whereas nearly a third of the people residing in Allegheny County do not have a driver's license, either because of their age or a condition that does not allow them to drive. And whereas public transportation and a strong network of sidewalks and bike paths aren't available in every community, making it much more difficult to get around, to visit friends, family, and take care of everyday tasks for those who cannot or do not drive. And whereas devastating cuts to transit service has been proposed in Allegheny County due to a lack of dedicated transit funding in Pennsylvania, including elimination of the P71, P7, and service reductions to the P1, P3, 59, 61A, and 61B. And whereas going a week without driving is a great way to understand how we can improve our transportation connectivity and access to better meet the needs of our community members. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Denise Swartzwelder, do hereby proclaim September 29th through October 5th, 2025, a week without driving, and I encourage all people in Swissvale Borough to join me in this special observance. Thank you. Thanks to you for bringing this to our attention, and I hope everybody will observe the week without driving in Swissvale. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going into our council actions with our minutes. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the July 30th, 2025 council agenda meeting and the August 6th, 2025 council meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Finance.
I move to approve the Borough of Swissvale pay bills in the amount of $586,222.50.
Second.
Any discussion?
Pay the bills.
Pay the bills. Gotta pay the bills.
Pay bills. Pay
Pay the
bills.
bills.
Pay.
Pay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Resolutions and ordinances.
I move to adopt ordinance 25-09, amending chapter 15, part 4, section 15-402 of the Swissvale Rural Code by prohibiting parking on the northern side of Columbia Avenue, a distance of 55 feet west from the intersection of Westmoreland Avenue and Columbia Avenue.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to point out, I brought this to our attention, but it was brought to my attention by several neighbors, but I also travel that road every day. I drive a truck and I still can't see down the road, down the hill. I had originally asked for a stop sign, but there was some concern as to how steep the road was and the fact that the difficulty some of our equipment would have during a snow situation. So this was what was able to happen. Move the parking down 55 feet at that intersection in front of an abandoned property or a vacant property right now. I've got a lot of people asking questions since this was first brought up last week. And I appreciate the number of people that are so excited about parking. I wish those folks would come here more often and raise those questions, but I would welcome your emails at any time. But if we had as many people interested about parking, show up to these meetings, there wouldn't be room. So please show up and thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I move to adopt ordinance 25-10, adopting a climate action plan for Swissvale Borough.
Second.
Any comment? Thank God.
Yeah.
We've been trying to pass this for a long time.
That's, yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, as Seth alluded to, this has been a long time coming, and it's gone from PowerPoint slides and concepts into a concrete plan that's getting adopted. I think that's exciting. It's good to see, you know, there's a lot of times where we feel like local government is stagnant or local government is pointless, some people would say, but it's good to see movement on this, and I hope it does stay on the table and doesn't go to the shelf.
And I will say personally that we have put in countless hours, and I didn't even put in as many hours as the citizens that are in this room perpetually kept coming to the table and did get help from Connect in order to keep the ball rolling and actually help finalize this. And special thanks to our borough manager who provided countless details that were asked of them often. And he filled out that paperwork, and he actually gave lots of information, which was very helpful. So I'm glad to finally get this pulled over the finish line so that we can actually have this. We thought we had it a while ago, but it just had to percolate a little bit so that it could be finalized. So all in favor? Aye. Okay, anyone opposed? Motion. Sorry, countless hours, after hours, Saturday, Sunday. Was it a Sunday one time? I don't know, it was a lot of hours. Very good, next.
I move to approve resolution 25-18, permitting the acquisition of block and lot 178-D-55, located at 7710 Francis Street by Robert Drive, Heinen, through the vacant property recovery program.
Second.
Discussion? We talked about this last week. I think the property was clear, ready to go to this meeting. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Motion passes.
I move to approve resolution 25-19 concerning borough employee interactions with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE.
Second.
Cheers.
Any comment?
I just want to take a moment and thank everybody who's either emailed us, shown up, given public comment on this. It's clear that our community is passionate about this, and I appreciate that. As was alluded to, you know, there's questions about being on the right side of history, and I share some of those sentiments, and I believe they transcend political party.
Yeah.
This is about the dignity of our citizens.
Yeah.
And our residents and their humanity. And I think where we stand on this will long outlive the party that's associated with it. So I just really appreciate everyone coming in and standing up for the greater good and for our community and for compassion.
Madam Clerk, the mayor read the resolution. This is the resolution. Borough of Swissvale Resolution 25-19, a resolution of the Borough of Swissvale, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing an official policy for enforcement of non-criminal federal immigration law. Whereas the Borough of Swissvale is made up of people who encompass a variety of backgrounds. And whereas Swissvale has long been a place of opportunity regardless of background, racial identity, immigration status, gender identity, sexual orientation, religious belief, or non-belief. And whereas on February 5th, 2025, Swissvale Borough Council adopted Resolution 2025-03, celebrating the diversity of Swissvale and affirming Swissvale as a welcoming place for all. And whereas Borough Council remains committed to celebrating diversity and assuring that Swissvale is a welcoming place for all by reaffirming Resolution 2025-03. And whereas Borough Council believes that it is important to expand on these principles expressed in Resolution 2025-03 to expressly address the Borough Council's position on immigration enforcement in Swissvale. And whereas all individuals must enjoy equal protections of the law regardless of immigration status, including the right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure. And whereas the Constitution and laws of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania require that a warrant for a person's arrest must only be issued by a neutral, detached judge or judicial officer. And whereas in many cases, being present in the United States without proper documentation is considered a civil violation, not a criminal offense. And whereas no state or federal law or regulation requires municipal police officers to assist the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents with their civil enforcement activities. And whereas the Borough Council wishes to establish an official policy that Swissvale will not enable or assist ICE-related civil law enforcement or ICE Program 287G. And whereas the Swissvale Police Department will continue to enforce any criminal warrant or court order illegally issued from a detached judge or judicial officer. Now therefore be it resolved that the Borough of Swissvale Council believes that enforcing immigration is a federal responsibility, and it is not the responsibility of local officials to enforce immigration law, and therefore hereby adopt and establishes the following policy. No memorandum of understanding. Swissvale will neither initiate nor entertain any requests by any department or agency of the United States government to dedicating any time, money, efforts, or resources of the borough toward ICE's non-criminal administrative enforcement. No 287G agreement. Swissvale will neither initiate nor entertain any requests by any department or agency of the United States government to enter into any agreement which authorizes any borough of Swissvale Police Department law enforcement officers to apply or enforce federal immigration law under Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act, codified as 8 U.S.C. 1357G, more commonly known as the 287G agreement. Immigration status. Borough Council supports the practice of the Borough of Swissvale Police Department law enforcement officers will not ask victims or witnesses about immigration status. To the extent the borough obtains such information, the borough will not disclose the information to any other agency without the consent of the affected member, except as be required by law or pursuant to a criminal warrant or court order from a detached judge or judicial officer. Police training. The Borough of Swissvale Police Department administration shall provide necessary information and training to its law enforcement officers to ensure that they properly apply and implement these policies of the borough while continuing to comply with and or enforce any criminal warrant or court order legally issued from a detached judge or judicial officer. Borough personnel and law enforcement may consult with borough solicitor and the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office if questions arise regarding compliance with this policy. Resolve this third day of 2025. I want to reiterate what I said last week. The Swissville Police Department is not currently taking any action or cooperation with ICE. This is a proactive sentiment of council to make our position clear that it is our police's responsibility to keep us safe while following the law morally. It's appalling what's going on in this country with regard to immigration right now. People are targeted because they don't look like me. People are targeted because they're carrying around a shovel. People are targeted because they're working in a restaurant. This is not okay. What we are doing here in Swissville right now, as a council and as your elected official, we're saying, hell no in Swissville. People have a place in Swissville, not ICE. Feel done. You're not going back.
I also want to say that it's quite interesting. My own family, we have natural born, naturalized, and green card holders right here in Swissville. And I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that are in very interesting immigration situations that they might not have thought about until right now, when all of a sudden they might feel more endangered. So one, I think it's wonderful that our neighbors are out there supporting us. And I know this is actually just a fraction of the people who wrote to us and who I encountered in the street talking about this. So kudos to Swissville for being open and also supporting the neighbors. So let's get this on the ball. All in favor? Aye. Oh, excellent, I got it. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Next.
This isn't as exciting, but it's still very necessary. I move to approve a contract with Compass Minerals America, Inc. for the purchase of rock salt for the 2025-26 winter season at a rate of $88.32 a ton.
Second.
Comment? We'll appreciate this rock salt when the winter hits.
Yep.
Because as you know, our streets will be a lot cleaner than some others. And for those of you who ever drive down Braddock or any of the side streets that hit into the city of Pittsburgh and not Swissvale, you know what I'm talking about. Because every time, and I don't even understand how you get close to Braddock and Forbes and you're slipping a lot of control, right? And I mean with good tires, because they're not plowed well. So we'll really appreciate this when that comes. So all in favor?
I really think we do understand
Oh, yeah,
why we're not slipping and sliding.
yeah.
Mr. D'Ambrosio.
That's right.
His great leadership and our amazing DPW. You literally see the border when you travel.
Thank you. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
I move to approve a contract with Dinsmore and Shoal LLC to serve as loan counsel for the 2.5 million general obligation note. Fees for the service are $20,000 with associated expenses not to exceed $2,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes.
I move to direct the Swissville Civil Service Commission to prepare and administer a test for entry-level patrol officers.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
I move to approve the allocation of $5,000 in council discretionary funds to pay for 5 years of membership dues to Welcome America Incorporated.
I'd like to motion to table the allocation of $5,000 in council discretionary funds.
Yes.
You have to second first.
Yeah, we need to second on the original motion.
Okay, I'll second that. And then I'll move the table the approval of the allocation of $5,000 in council discretionary funds to pay for 5 years of membership dues to Welcoming America. Simply because, last week, it was brought up to allocate them, but we didn't get the chance to discuss it. It was brought up by several, citizens, the opportunities to potentially use Allegheny County's membership, and then these funds can be allocated to some other, Swissville necessity.
I'll
So,
second that.
So, if in fact that's not the case, I actually wanna as well put in money for Welcome in America as well. So we can table it to see what, going
Yeah, we
forward,
can find
yeah,
out.
we can do more research on it, but if it's for them, that'd be great, but.
Yeah, and I would encourage along the lines of what Ms. Swartzwelder said, that we would reach out to Allegheny County and understand if what they've agreed to in membership covers the municipalities of Allegheny County.
Yeah.
Using discretionary funds
And-
as,
Permanently, yeah.
right,
yeah,
yeah.
but also to actually like understand what their set means for us and are we able to use it or again, just.
How do we measure it? How do we, I don't know this organization well enough. So I really appreciate everyone's openness and willingness to table this. I know that we're gonna have a long meeting at the end of the month because we're all gonna talk about different types of projects. And I look forward to a robust debate. I really appreciate what Mr. Quinn was trying to do, and reassuring and reinforcing our commitment as a borough to be welcoming.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad we're tabling it so we can actually have a full conversation about this.
I would say when I looked at it, and that was just a very brief look, I think the Welcoming America goes hand in hand with the type of, what do we call that? With the type of resolutions that we've been passing. If it's, whether or not we take it on or the Allegheny County as a whole has taken it on. If you're going to, sit there and say that you're welcoming to people, then you have to actually.
Really go with it.
Yeah.
All right, so.
The county's got more money than us.
So let's spend their.
Your voice and your actions have to be aligned and go hand in hand. You can say a lot out of your mouth, so do you really believe that? And that's what people talk about, really. Yeah.
I'd just like to add one more thing, because it also kind of ties into some of the public comment is, in looking at the remainder of this discretionary spending, while I think, opportunities such as partnering with organizations that align with Swissvale's values is important. I also think we need to look at the immediate needs in our community now. And I think some of the needs that were brought up tonight as far as, infrastructure, public safety, I think we really need to make sure that we're not losing sight of those things. In the name of other things that already align with things that other resolutions we as a council are passing cover. So I think tabling this and coming back at our next meeting and having a more robust discussion would benefit all of us.
And I agree with you 100%. And I mean, I'm just gonna take this opportunity to mention, like, I'm in very, 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 very preliminary conversations with the bricklayers. I'd like us to create some sort of a pilot apprenticeship where bricklayers come to Swissvale, help us repair our brick roads and learn their craft. So if there are others on council that have a burning itch to allocate some funds, I welcome that conversation. My number is 412.
About 2.3 of my phone. You got it.
But no, I agree with you 100%. These types of things, and that if county paid for it, let us pay for it. Let's be part of it.
Okay, all in favor of tabling the motion?
Aye.
One not in favor. All right, motion passes. Now we get to the nitty gritty of our reports. First report of the COG, Ms. Strickland.
So we just get back into session at the end of this month, so it's cool.
Thank you. Connect report, Dr. Alfonso Wells. Well, we're still getting funding and they're actually trying to fund some projects that we have here. But we'll have more details on our next, meeting. Thank you, Dr. Alfonso Wells, I appreciate it. All right, President's report,
You say that in the mirror.
Mr. Ansel? Oh, not here right now? What do we need? Oh, Mr. Ansel told me that we need to say that we are going to have an executive session after to discuss personnel matters. Yeah. Extra time. All right. Mayor's report.
All right, so we have a lot of activities coming up in Swissvale, September and October. I just want to mention a few. This Saturday is our Locomotion Commotion, Saturday, September 6th, from 12 to 3 at 7600 Evans Street. That is the old West Junior High. Bring the family and come look at a bunch of emergency vehicles and local emergency vehicles, and your bikes will be a bike parade, and it's a fun activity for families in Swissvale. So, and we do need volunteers if anybody would like to volunteer. Go on the website, you can check off or just show up. 11, 10, what time, Sarah?
To set up 10 to 12, volunteers, we need from like 11:30 to 3. Any amount of time, it doesn't have to be a big amount of time.
And then the following week, September 13th, will be the food truck roundup back on Collingwood. That is from 2 to 6. That is a very nice community event. There'll be DJ, dancing, food trucks, vendors, bounce house, activities, a photo booth. Bring the family, have a great time. It's a really nice event. And then the next weekend is our cleanup. Power and Sedco are combining forces. That's September 20th at 9 a.m. Meet at parking lot at Power on between Church and McClure Street. And then October 25th is our Halloween parade / community days. That will be starting on Collingwood, parading through the streets to Memorial Park, and where we'll have our big community day. Yeah, that's all for that. I have two other things to mention. The library, that is the center of our town. Everybody knows it's being renovated. We are trying to raise $30,000 for the month of September to continue renovations. Discretionary funds would help. And if you'd like to donate, go to the library, take some money, donate by the website. You can sign up to donate. And the library is one of the most important center buildings in Swissvale, and to see it getting renovated is just, we should all be very proud of it. So also they have Love Your Library signs in the yard, front yard. Take one, put it in your yard, and show your support for our library and how much we all love it. And lastly, there was some discussion about parking at Memorial Park and the surrounding streets on Thursdays during the bocce tournaments. Can we open the back parking for Thursdays to alleviate our side streets?
Open the gate.
Just open the gate and let them park. We have the number for the guy in charge. We'll get a hold of him and let them know that there's additional parking in the back, and hopefully they will not park, in everybody else's spaces. And that's my report. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I just wanted to know if, I don't think it was mentioned in any of our other meetings, but Mayor Swartzwelder here in the past couple months did a feature with WQED and Chelsea from Dairy Delight highlighting our wonderful ice cream shop here in the community. So if you haven't seen that, check it out, support public media. They need it right now. And thank you, Mayor, representing
So, my pleasure.
our town and our wonderful ice cream shop, which is open for a few more weeks. By the fall.
Time's it closed today?
9 o'clock tonight.
You want me to address the two issues that were brought up for. Part of it. It was the Woodstock traffic and.
Oh. Oh, yes, you want, oh, he doesn't, okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
yes, we'll just tag right.
As far as traffic on Woodstock, I've already directed the supervisors, for 3 to 11 to do a little more traffic enforcement of the area than we normally do. Try to address that in the immediate timeframe. I know that there's things going on, but we can do that over the next couple of months. Is there a specific time when it's, is it rush hour?
No, it's pretty much all the time, and we're the people that go fast and going when the traffic. I mean, they're blowing through every single stop sign.
Okay.
On stop, so sort of like middle of the day and then late at night.
Okay,
Uh,
that always helps me.
past midnight, honestly, is sort of the time that it happens.
Okay,
But it's kind of hard, it is kind of all the time, so like that was at 10 in the morning on a Sunday, so that, you know, it's sort of, and.
I mean, you understand the limitations we
Yeah,
have, but we will do the best we can to try
Yeah.
to step up a little bit.
Yeah, it's just like the last 3 or 4 months, it's like been ramping up a lot, so, yeah.
Okay.
They just full play of stop signs. I mean, some people are blatantly blowing through all of them down the whole street, but some people just barely slow down.
It's unfortunately a trend that.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, that doesn't mean it's okay, it doesn't mean we're not gonna do what we can to affect change, but.
Yeah,
Chief, I know we were, a couple of years back, we did some targeted stop sign enforcement on
Yeah.
Braddock and Sanders.
Yes.
Do we have any funding or personnel availability where we could do maybe a targeted? Because I've heard a lot coming from that corridor, you know, just like a targeted stop sign enforcement during certain times.
I mean, we can do that currently stopping we have, it's just something, you know, we're gonna do it in between calls versus someone needing their own time, but it is something.
Okay, thank
And I can look at what aggressive, driving funds are available, and when we do get that funding, I can try to stay. Target that. The second thing was about the PennDOT detour. You're not gonna like my answer, because I don't like my answer, to be fair, okay? So PennDOT does not communicate with us with that stuff. In the past, when they've done major construction, closed the parkway, they contracted us and paid us and Edgewood to staff intersections to direct traffic. They did not do that. And I see where this is heading. So next summer is going to be very interesting, and I don't know, other than people calling PennDOT, saying, if you're gonna direct all this traffic off the Swissvale, they're gonna say, I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna say. Well, no, the detour is open first. Yeah, when it's open at Swissvale, what do people do? They drive till they have to get off, and then they get off. And then they don't know where they're going, and their GPS tells them not to take the detour, but to go Whipple, you know, back through the, back of Swiss Sound Park. So there was a meeting before, we stressed to them the importance of communication. We want them to have the details, so we can try to keep the traffic moving, but unfortunately, it's up to them.
Could we as a
I'm sorry,
council
I'm
Could we as a council put together a communication to PennDOT, basically voicing our concern
I
for
second
that
that.
closure and
Mr. Roger, can I make a recommendation to include Edgewood?
Edgewood as
Because
well?
they're in the same boat, and we've always, when they have these parkway closures, we would actually share the detail and work together. And if it was successful, I think we keep them posted, I think,
Okay,
so.
Can I suggest that in this letter that we actually ask them to come here and sit down and hear from us, but also the community about how this adversely impacts their experience and their lived experience.
yeah. Do we know if they're gonna have any other public meet? I know they've had a couple public meetings leading up to this construction, but I didn't know if we could look to see if there's any other public meetings before that closure also, because that would give us an opportunity.
Even if not.
Yeah, that's still invite them.
Come here and talk hear from our neighbors,
Yeah.
what's going on. I mean, at the same time, we can talk about, I mean. It's gonna be expensive. For us to replace roads that are destroyed by traffic. We already have South Braddock that is not funded by anybody else except for us, and we've got 22,000 cars that go on it daily. Imagine that on Whipple. I don't want to. I mean, Allegra, unless you're gonna move in with me.
Commissioner Haynes, last time they did that work, they did pay part of South Braddock and everything.
Did they?
I don't know if this is current, but the last time I met with the city of Pittsburgh fire officials. It was my understanding when they do the bridge replacement, close the parkway, they're also closing commercial. Because they're sliding that bridge. So the hidden godsend is they're not gonna be able to go that route unless something changed.
And that's gonna be in July, so if that's when you want to plan your vacation, that's probably.
Charter flight to Europe, who wants to go?
Exactly, all right, but borough managers report.
Thank you, ma'am. A couple of things. First one's directed to council. I sent an email to everyone today with the amount of council discretionary funds that you have left. So council did make a decision a few months ago. October 6th is the deadline for allocating these. So have them to me by September 23rd, so I can put everything on the agenda. So we can have a discussion of everything that's remaining and what the money for the.
Can I just ask, do we have any projects that need like a little bridge, like we aren't quite funded, like the library? Or do you have any suggestions for us as?
I said something about here.
Yeah.
But I will resend some things. You know, there's about $57,000 that's not allocated, so I will resend the list. I'll update a few things
Yeah.
to, for projects that we're looking for a couple dollars.
Right, yeah, just to finish
Yeah.
something, so,
Yeah, some things came in on budget a little bit, or
Right.
something, we wanted to do. Buy the fund, so yeah, I'll put something together. End of this week or early next week, get it out.
will you include the library?
Yes. Absolutely. Yep. Second thing for the residents, if you have a delinquent garbage bill, I said this last week, I'm gonna say it again, I'll say it again next one. Garbage amnesty program, is available to you, there are no penalties. For if you're delinquent 20 years, penalties are all waived. That expires October 31st, all penalties go back on. So if you can, pay that bill, if you didn't get a delinquent bill from Keystone or a notification of this program, call Keystone. But then that expires October 31st. I don't know if the council's will to extend that or redo it. It's a very generous offer. That's been starting May and will end October 31st. Next thing, next month's meeting, the agenda meeting is on Monday, September 29th. That's a virtual meeting. This meeting will be on Monday, October 6th at this location. Those were changed to, as they conflicted to Jewish holidays. So remember, next two meetings are Monday and Monday, 29th and 6th. Borough building project is actually still ahead of schedule. I don't want to say much more because no one happens. Yes, but yes, we are ahead of schedule, even though as rainy as it was early this season. Since then, it's been very dry and they've made a lot of progress. They're hoping to be pouring floors within the next 2 weeks, pouring the concrete floors. And then after that, starting the roof. So we're very pleased with the progress. Our progress we're not pleased with Washington Street Bridge. They are supposed to mobilize on September 15th, begin the demolition of the bridge. So we'll see what happens on September 15th. That's what, 12 days from now. We'll see what happens. And, when they mobilize, the bridge will be closed to pedestrian traffic until the bridge is completed. Which if they mobilize in September on September 15th, they're saying July of 2026 is the date. And just so council knows too, we will be bringing a couple of grant projects to you next month for bids for approval. One is for the food pantry for the roof, the other one is for the local school center, local school community center for the sidewalks and the EV chargers that were part of that grant. We actually got Duquesne Light to fund all but the conduit for the EV chargers. So that's about $40,000. We don't have to take out the local school grant, so we'll have an extra $40,000 or so spent, not to look at school on interior renovation. So we're gonna do that once we get the numbers in, and hopefully we have another LSA grant pending for the food pantry and one for the local school. We'll know about those grants, and then we can take the balance of the two of each grant if we get the other ones added to them. And it's a bigger project now. We will need a contract architect for that. I do have proposals for both projects. I didn't bother bringing them to you until we know we have the second amount of funding, because the architect's fees will take out the rest of the balance of the initial funding. So we'll be bringing them, well, if Mr. Discal has any other comments, I need to sue your thunder if I did. And that was quite lengthy meeting yesterday about all these projects. I'll put it in my monthly report, which I'll send out. You know, I usually send mine in the middle of the month rather than council meeting time. But I'll put it, I will summarize there are all of our entire discussions, when everything is going out to bid on what we're proposing, timeframes. Like the streetscape, we're looking to put out to bid next month. It may sound stupid, but because winter's coming, but it takes 3 to 6 months to get the poles. So if we get awarded contract in November or December, the pole should be here in spring when the collection comes. So, and that is all I have tonight, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Batch.
Dr. President.
Madam Doctor, Dr.
And
Matt.
for our borough engineers report, Mr. Ziskow.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Just to add to the manager's comments, we did meet, and as he said, there are a number of projects that we've been working on for several months with tentative schedules. Now we're getting more defined schedules. Over the next few months, you'll see 3, 4, 5 projects bid. The one highlight is we had advertised for bids for the Sly Avenue Sanitary Sewer Project. We had originally received a $400,000 grant, which was enough to do a portion of it. We had intended to do as much as we could with the money we had available. Well, fortunately, we received the second grant for $300,000. So now we have $700,000, which I feel pretty confident that we can do the entire project with. The problem being, not a problem of sorts, but we have to bid it through a different funding agency because of the other grant that was received. So we're prepared to put that back out and advertise it as soon as the grant contract comes through for the second grant. But that's good news for us. The other unfortunate news is we've received notification, as have most of the municipalities in the Turtle Creek Valley Council of Governments, very little, if any, demolition funding. Swissville didn't get any, and communities like Rankin and North Braddock didn't get any as well. Here the communities really needed it more than some of the others. There's going to be a different change in the program, as I understand it. And I'm not sure how this Quote Act 152 program is going to work in the future. I just heard a rumor, and I'm not able to confirm it, that they're not going to qualify single family residential for Act 152. Now, if they don't, they're going to have to put together another program, because that's one of the keys to these municipalities. But yeah, further information when I have it for you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ziskow. Water Authority report, Tracy Crockett Collins.
Good evening. This is a review of the board meeting that happened on August 26th. Penn Vest Grant Phase 3, 113 replacements were completed since the last update. Good news, there is going to be a Phase 4. Applications are due October 29th, and our engineering company has been authorized, along with management, to apply for $10 million. The authority's PR firm is working with Senator Jake Costa's office and the Customer Advisory Committee to create some content about lead line replacements. Apparently, there are a lot of rumors out there that yards are ruined and things aren't replaced, and that is not true. The project is free to residents that received the letter about lead, and Final Restoration completes the project so that it is like it was before the project started. We've had rule book changes. Those are going to be updated online. Rule books will no longer be offered and, people can request a rule book in, paper form, but otherwise we're not printing them because the majority of them end up in the parking lot as trash. Right to know policy has been updated, the Service Lines of America warranty program. We have gone into partnership with them. They are going to send out letters to any customer of the water authority offering, warranty programs, but that is not, it is affiliated with the water authority in the fact that we are allowing them to do that. And mainline breaks, there were 59 system-wide and 4 in Swissvale since the last report. Distribution is in the report, delinquents are in the report, other business was conducted, the agenda engineers reports, et cetera, are available online. And if you have any water problems or see any water problems, please call customer service at 412-243-6200. That's my report. Any questions?
Regarding the lead line program, is there anything that residents can do to check if they're going to be included in that program? Or is it all just they would receive a letter from the authority? Because I've had a neighbor ask me, they heard from somebody down the street that they were getting their lead line replaced. And do we get ours replaced? Is ours lead? You know, they have questions.
There is an area on the website. It is several clicks deep.
Okay,
And you can verify whether you have lead or not.
okay.
We have sent double the amount of letters out to residents. It's, written off as junk mail. I had a relative not believe that it was real and didn't ask me if it was real or not. I had to convince him that it wasn't gonna be a problem. So if you have lead and you haven't gotten a letter, it's in general, because we haven't been in that area. We try and do, they're trying concentrated effort so that you're not tearing up one block this week and then another block, that's an extension of that block several months or the next year. So there is a concentrated effort for that. If somebody in the area is getting it and another neighbor hasn't, they can call the water authority and ask if they are part of the project in the phase that we're in.
Thank you.
Can we advertise on our socials, the deeper into the clicks? I mean, if it's multiple clicks in, is there a way for us to put some things out that, hey, double check you're not
I
letting?
think we did it once. I don't remember when, probably when it was first added.
I'm in ours, not.
No, I think I shared it, and I think it was shared.
And if you call, they will actually, I've called and they'll look it up too, like you don't necessarily have to click all the way through. You can call and they'll look, cause I called, but I also got a letter, but I called and they, when I was calling back, they said, oh, let me look. And they were able to look through the phone call and see whether or not. They also have another program where they actually test lead in your line. It's part of a, just lead testing. And they've done that. I've been part of that for the last 3 or 4 years.
That is random testing that is needed through the
But
authority, but if you call to ask, there is
random
a fee.
Oh,
If you call to ask,
Oh,
there's a fee.
they didn't give me.
If you are part of the random process, there is no.
I was randomized because I saw it on my neighbor's doorstep and, they, at some point. I haven't been paying for it, but they definitely included me in the project and so.
And now you can find out definitively
and I-
through the website.
Well, I do believe they're going around again, so after your lead has been removed. And there is a process, they'll actually give you a water bottle that if you have some lead in there, it'll cleanse it.
Again,
filter it.
random, you cannot request that. I mean, you
No,
can
I mean,
request
if
it, but
you're
with
in
the
program, if you're in the lead replacement program.
No,
No, yes. they
oh,
give
as
you a
part of the
water-
follow-up.
Right, as part of the follow-up. And then if you're in the randomized program, you can then randomly check later to make sure there's no lead in your line, but a lot of randomized things.
One other PSA that's water related, if you're like my household where we accidentally had a outdoor water fixture leak for the entire month of August. And found a over 10 times increase in our water bill for the month. Alcosan, I talked to the water authority, and Alcosan does offer a one-time leak forgiveness program. Where if you reach out to them and prove that you had a leak in your system, they will forgive the sewer portion of that, which you can
Is
save
more
you.
than 60% of the bill.
It's more than 60% of the bill, which is very good when your bill has multiplied 10 times at once. So PSA, if you ever have the issue that we're encountering, take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now for our solicitors report, Mr. Hosa. That is good. All right.
Oh, hi, Bob.
He's in bed.
All right, can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn at 11.
Okay, adjourning at 8:11 PM, and for those of you on council, don't go anywhere, because we're going into the executive. Yeah.